neither here nor there is somewhere. I'm at a harvest host in southern Oregon. Melrose Vineyards is located near the South Umpqua River, where there was once an early French settlement. In the mid-1800s, the Archambault family settled and filed a land grant to become owners of the land. In 1996, after 20 years of growing raisin grapes in San Joaquin Valley, Wayne and Dee Dee purchased the land that is now Melrose Vineyard. He predicted that Southern Oregon would be one of the next great viticulture areas in the United States, and it is most definitely becoming one of the top areas. You've got to visit. Inside the tasting room, there's a lot of stuff to see and a lot of stuff to purchase. Funny little wine things, well duh, they should have those, and they do. They had those beautiful wine barrel tables. After my tasting, surprisingly, I needed a glass of wine. And what I guess really was surprising was that I chose a white wine. It was delicious. I don't remember which one right now. Probably Viognier. And I took it out onto the little patio that overlooks the back where I was supposed to park. You'll hear more about that later, but I couldn't make it work for me. But look at that beautiful lawn. That's my glass, just sitting there. Oh, it's enjoying the view. Now, here I'm trying to do a bad selfie, and I'm really not having to try that hard because it's a bad selfie. I can't quite get myself in it, even. I ordered food from the winery, and it was delicious. This was their bacon mac and cheese. Oh my God. I would get another one just for the trip. And then this was a smoked salmon appetizer dish, and the owner of the vineyard smokes the salmon himself. It was great. It's me and the winery. Of course, the dogs and the cat, but really me and the winery. I like it. The winery is closed. I am now the only human inhabitant. It's kind of cool. And in the dark, it'll probably be a little scary. But the animals are inside. I'm going for a bit of a walk on my own. It was unbelievably peaceful and quiet being in the winery by myself. I think that's one of the blessings and excitements of doing the Harvest Host. This was only my second Harvest Host visit, and I do intend to do a lot more. When I first arrived, I was instructed to go down the hill to where the grass area is, where the sprinklers are going now, and park down there under a tree because it was so hot. But I could not find a level enough spot for myself, so I drove back up. I asked if I could park on the blacktop, either the parking lot or this little area here, and it was absolutely fine because they weren't crowded. So this worked very well. No, I didn't keep the puppies locked up the whole time. They got to wander around with me on leash and pretend they were winery dogs. As usual in the morning, the animals woke me up by 7, probably closer to 6. But that was okay because I went outside with and without them and just enjoyed the peaceful morning. Again, the sprinklers, which is really a nice sound, and there were birds. What I did notice the night before when I went out and looked around in the dark was I hadn't seen so many incredible stars since the Northridge earthquake in 1994 when the lights went out in Southern California. It was magnificent. The air is cool, the sun is gently warm. There are some people in the field already. I'm not sure what they're doing because I think it's too early to pick grapes, but I know farming is a 24/7 kind of job, and having a vineyard is farming. This is the event center, and I understand this past weekend there were 400 people here all over the place for their annual all-you-can-eat crab fest. I would like to come back and go to that. Check out the moss. That's pretty cool. There's wine in there. Seriously, wine. Back where I come from on the farm in Iowa, it would have been corn, and I don't mean corn whiskey. It would have been silage, but this is wine. I was hesitant to go back to this area because I did not want to overstep myself, but one of the early morning workers suggested that I come back and take a look at this rather than just the grounds, because this is where the magic happens. And this is the magic happening. These tanks are chemically chilled, and that's what he's doing right now, putting some chemicals in to keep the temperature low so that the wine can ferment and the sugars can do whatever the sugars have to do to make it. I did not want to ask questions because he was incredibly busy, but I would have gotten some really good info, I'm sure, if he would have had a little time. This is a little bottling section, and you can see some of the bottles on the inside and some of the bottles on the outside. I'm sure at certain times of the year this thing is just cranking away like crazy with lots of people. And then they're moving boxes of bottles, because all these casks of wine will eventually go into bottles and go into glasses and go into people. Watch the little dance of the forklifts. That's pretty cool how they're able to maneuver around each other and not crash. My reflection looks pretty cool there behind all the grapevines nestled in amongst the trees of Southern Oregon. The original vineyard was 82 acres, and it was planted in the summer of 1996. After some challenges from Mother Nature, in 2000 the first wines were in barrels, and it was decided that the 100-year-old barn on the property, complete with breathtaking views as you could see, would be the ideal location for the tasting room. The barn tasting room was rebuilt from the ground up, leaving only the main timbers of the structure intact in order to maintain its structural integrity and historical value. It looks like Sapphire and Espresso have had quite a fill of wine and excitement for now. Future videos will be coming. They'll be with me, and you'll have to tune in to see where we go next. I can promise there will be winery.